I've been asked to introduce the president. I will do so. He is President Tumamina, that they have said. So, Mr. President, Tumamina, we Tumawena today to come to the fore. Allah, President Ramaphosa, Allah. Allah, President Ramaphosa, Allah. Tumamina, President Ramaphosa, Tumamina. Tumamina, President Ramaphosa, Tumamina. Eita, President Ramaphosa, eita. Thank you very much. Realebucha siyabonga inkomo. Danki. Let's give the president an opportunity to address the nation and address the world on this important day. Just an announcement. Tsimuloho Mavuso. Gogo is looking for the kid here, which is Tsimuloho Mavuso. If anybody sees a kid, a child who's stranded, please let's help Gogo and get the child to the fore. Mr. President.
Amandla. Amandla. My boo, yeah. My boo, yeah. Malibongwe. Malibongwe. Forward with Sharpeville, forward. Forward with Sharpeville, forward. Amandla. Dumelang. Sanbonani. Molweni. Abishen. Dimacheroni. Lochani. Goeiemiddag. Good day to you all. Thank you so much. I'd like to extend my greetings to all the people of Sharpeville as you are gathered here, and also extend my greetings to our people who are watching from home. I am very pleased to be here and also sharing the platform with the President of the Pan-Africanist Congress, Ntate Narias Moloto. Ke batla simolla ka go dumedisa Minister wa rona o leng Program Director, Minister Nathi Mthethwa. Ke mo leboge gore department ya gagwe e tlhopisitse mosebetsi ona pila. Ke dumedise di minister tsa rona sa mmuso tse leng gona fa. Ke dumedise le di deputy ministers tse teng. Ke tswelle pele ke dumedise Premier wa rona Ntate David Makhura o le mmutlileng a eme mo a leka go kenya mollo mo gare ga rona. Re a mo leboga. I also extend my greetings to members of Parliament and members of the provincial legislatures and MECs who are here with us, not forgetting to extend my greetings to the Executive Mayor of the Sidibeng District Municipality, Councillor Busisiwe Mudisa King, and the Executive Mayor of Mfuleni Local Municipality, Councillor Reverend Gift Mwerani. I extend my greetings as well to leaders of faith-based organizations who are here with us, and leaders of various other political parties, and traditional leaders, and leaders of non-governmental organizations and civil society. But more importantly, I want to extend my greetings to the families of the victims of the Sharpeville massacre and fellow South Africans. Today, we are here in Sharpeville to commemorate the massacre that took place here that resulted in the deaths of so many of our people. But today we are also here to speak to a theme that is so important as part of the human rights architecture that we are building in our country. We do so in line also with the United Nations that has declared 2019 as the International Year of Indigenous Languages. And as a result, this year's Human Rights Day is dedicated to the promotion of indigenous languages in our country. We want to do so because language is a fundamental part of building a human rights culture. But this theme has resonance. It has great resonance with our own history. When the colonialists came to our country, and as the apartheid rulers also extended their own rule over our country and our people, they made language an instrument that they could subjugate our people with. They chose language and saw it as this instrument and sought in the process to deliberately suppress and to destroy our languages, and in a number of cases even sought to obliterate them. With our freedom in 1994, we got an opportunity to restore the standing of our various languages. In our past, yes, language was used as a symbol of oppression. Today, we are here to affirm that language can be used as a source of empowerment and pride. In according all our languages the respect that they are due, we are affirming the dignity, the worth, and the humanity of every South African. It is said that when a language dies, a way of life and a way of understanding the world dies with it. So the aim of this year's celebration, therefore, is to highlight the efforts as well as the importance that we are attached to conserving languages that are in danger of being extinct. We can be immensely proud of the way in which our government has embarked on a process in our country to ensure that we restore the standing and the dignity of the languages that were almost obliterated and destroyed in our country. So on Human Rights Day, because language is one of the most important rights that we have enshrined in our Constitution, the right to be able to speak your own language without fearing that your language will be suppressed. Haki emifa, haki bua ka Setswana, kapa ki bua ka Sesotho, kapa ki bua ka Sevenda, kapa ki bua ka Setsonga, ki ikutlwa ke le motlotlo gagolo ka hobane ke bua ka leleme la bontate wa rona le bonkgono wa rona. Le a gopola ge ka nako ele ya kgale ba ile ba leka gore Afrikaans e be lona leleme le re tla le buang kaofela ha rona re lebale maleme a rona. Re ile ra re Afrikaans re ka e bua empa le se ke la bolaya maleme a rona. So gompieno wa bona hane re ngwala molaotheo, and mo Sharpeville you can be proud of the fact that you are the constitutional city of our country, because the Constitution was signed here by our President Nelson Mandela at the time. So you are the owners of our Constitution, and that Constitution has language as an important right enshrined in it. So when we were negotiating the Constitution, those we were negotiating with, they only wanted English and Afrikaans to be the official languages of the country. And then we asked them, ra re anong le reng ka maleme a amang kaofela ona kopane? Ba re no, batho ba South Africa, they must only speak English and Afrikaans. Re be re gana re re nya, re a gana, re na le maleme a rona, re ka se dumele fela gore go ntshiwe maleme a mabedi go buiwe ona fela mo South Africa. And to that end, we ended up with 11 official languages. But even as we adopted these languages as the 11 official languages, we said we are going to proceed to promote the standing of all the other languages that are spoken by our people. So we are immensely proud. We are very proud in our country that one of the key languages that was brutally suppressed and almost obliterated is now resurfacing, and we are making sure that this language is taught in our schools, and that is the Nama language. The language of the Khoisan people is now being taught in our primary schools. That is something that we should be proud of. And are Sharpeville yona ntlha eno matsogo ka hobane ke yona e botlhokwa. The Nama language is being taught in our primary schools in the Northern Cape, and a language rule book is being finalized by the Pan-South African Language Board. The Commission for the Protection and the Promotion of the Rights of Cultural and Religious and Linguistic Communities is actively involved in resuscitating isiHlubi, isiBhaca, Northern Ndebele, and other indigenous languages. They are being resuscitated and being turned into written languages, as well as in the future being languages that will be taught also in our schools. Asiyona ntwe entle yena yenu na. Ke yona ntwe entle. As part of our commitment to empower and foster respect of the rights of people with disabilities, a proposal has been submitted to Parliament to elevate South African Sign Language to the status of an official language. Ausi o le moshebileng antse a toloka ntho enngwe le enngwe ke buang ka sign language. There's a proposal now that this language that she is translating what I am saying into should now be elevated, yes, to a level of being an official language. It is going to be debated. Now, this is going to be debated in our Parliament, but this is a clear indication that as a government, we are prepared and determined to empower as well as to foster the respect for the rights of people with disabilities. And this we do because our Constitution directs us to do precisely that. Next month, the very first Xitsonga drama series will be shown on SABC. Leswi swi tsakisa swinene hi ku hi ta kota ku vona drama series leyi nga endliwa hi Xitsonga ku ri vanhu hinkwavo va kota ku vona va titwela hi tindleve ta vona ku ri Xitsonga i ririmi ra njhani na. And va ta kota na ku dyondza Xitsonga ku ri loko munhu a vulavula a nga ha yimi ntsena ka avuxeni, a ya phambili a kota ku vulavula na swin'wana. Hi lava ku ri vanhu va kota na ku vulavula na swin'wana ku ri loko u hlangana na vanhu va kota ku vulavula i ririmi ra Xitsonga, vanhu va swi twisisa. Now, every time an indigenous language is spoken freely and without restraint, every time an indigenous language is broadcast on our airwaves and on our TV, we are paying homage to the core belief expressed in the preamble of our Constitution. Because the preamble of our Constitution speaks also to our nationhood It speaks about who we are. It is a preamble that says we are a nation united in our diversity. And united in our diversity also should mean that all of us should extend our ability to speak other languages, should extend our ability to understand them and to hear them. It was here in Sharpeville, as I said earlier, that President Nelson Mandela signed the Constitution. Today we gather here again at a place where one of the greatest tragedies of our country took place, the killing of unarmed civilians by a callous and brutal regime, both here and in Langa and Cape Town, showed the world the bitter reality of life of black South Africans under the terror rule of apartheid. The Sharpeville and Langa massacre came to symbolize the moral superiority of the anti-apartheid cause. Though lacking the guns of their oppressors, our people were determined to stand up for what was right, no matter what the cost was. They came in peace and were met by a hail of bullets. The regime of the time had no regard for even the most basic of human rights, the right to protest freely. But try as they might, they could not extinguish the torch of liberty that was carried by the brave men and the women who came before us. The bullets that they shot did not kill their spirits and what they stood for. I had the privilege earlier, as we were laying a wreath, to meet the families of members of those who were killed or who lost their lives here in Sharpeville. I was deeply moved. I was given the privilege and the honor to greet each one of them and extended my condolences and also the condolences of our government. And we know that there are still issues that they would still want to be addressed. And we will address those issues because we are a caring government. Re re mo bona le ska fela pelo ditletlebo tse le nang le tsona re a di itse, re tla di lokisa, re tla di sebetsa, re a leboga ka tsela e leng kamogetseng ka yona. Ke a leboga. Now, those who died set in motion a process that 25 years ago would free our people of the chains of oppression. Because of them, the children of Sharpeville, of Langa, of Soweto, of Umlazi, of Zamdela, of Lephalale will never know the pain and humiliation of being strangers in the land of their birth. Our freedom was won through their courage, and we owe them an immense debt. And so we pay homage to those heroes and heroines of our people who paid for the liberation of our country with their lives. Their names will forever remain etched on the scroll of our history, and they will never be forgotten. We invoke their memories when we look at just how far we have come as a nation in advancing human rights across our society. Today we live in a free society where the human rights of all are protected and enforced by our Constitution. Bound by our belief in our Constitution, we continue to work towards the realization of a country that is united, non-sexist, non-racial, prosperous and free. That is the objective that we have as a people and as a nation, to aspire to be this type of society. As the elected government of the people, for the people and by the people, respect for human rights is the bedrock of our actions. Working together, we have transformed South Africa from a society driven by a race-based, exclusionary and divisive ideology to a democracy where all citizens enjoy equal rights before the law. Sometimes as South Africans, we need to pause for a minute and look back where we have come from and remember that we come from a horrible history where the human rights that we enjoy today were only enjoyed by a few people in our country. But today, these human rights, as a result of the struggles, the suffering that was borne by those whose lives we are commemorating today, are now enjoyed by all South Africans without any regard for race, without any regard for anything whatsoever. Forward with the human rights of our people, forward. Forward with human rights of South Africans, forward. Over the past 25 years, we have worked very hard to give expression to the rights our Constitution promises our people. Since 1994, millions of South Africans have been provided with rights that in a number of countries are not even recognized as rights, what we call socio-economic rights. And this is what makes our Constitution the best Constitution in the world. Because as we were drafting our Constitution, we wanted our Constitution to address the lived reality of our people, to address the suffering of our people, to be a Constitution that will speak to our people in reality. And today, we have extended a number of rights to our people as enshrined in our Constitution, rights that were also reinforced by our courts. For instance, access to housing, access to health care, access to basic services, and social welfare protection. All these are the socio-economic rights that our Constitution has embraced and recognizes, and these are being extended to our people on a continuous basis. While only around half of young children attended school in 1994, today we have near universal access for children aged 7 and 14. There are over 2 million students in our institutions of higher learning with vocational and vocational training colleges, many of these from poor and working class backgrounds. And this happens because our Constitution speaks very clearly to the right to education. As a result of this, we open the doors of learning. Bana ba rona ba bantsi ba kena dikolo kajeko, ba kena dikolo ka hobane tokelo e ya thuto e kwetse mo constitutioneng ya rona. Ke ka lebaka leo re butsing menyako ya dikolo gore bana ba rona ba bantsi ba kene dikolo. Ka 1994 mo di university le di college go ne go na le bana ba 300,000 fela ba ne ba kena ko di university le di college. Ka jeko bana bao ba kenang ko university mo mena le diphando a tshwereng marapo teng ba feta 1 million ba kene ka bongata. Ke yona ntho e bontshang gore tokelo e ya thuto ke yona e re ileng ra shebana le yona gagolo go etsa gore setšhaba sa gaeso se kgone go kry-a thuto e emetseng ko godimo. We have a legal system that enforces and protects the rights for all. Minister wa rona, Minister Masuta, ke ena ka ministry wa gage wa justice, o etsang sure gore ditokelo tsa rona kaofela di etsa gore ditokelo tsa batho ba South Africa di tlhomphiwe. Discrimination on the basis of race, gender, sexual orientation or disability is forbidden by our laws. It is befitting that South Africa marks Human Rights Day on the same day that the United Nations celebrates World Down Syndrome Day, because our approach to the needs and the interests of persons with disability is at all times guided by the Bill of Rights. On this day, we must support efforts to raise awareness about Down syndrome and confront discrimination, ignorance, and prejudice, and make sure that those who have Down syndrome are also accorded the rights that each one of us has as South Africans, and that we must respect them, and that we must protect them, and never, ever, ever discriminate against them. It is important. We affirm our determination that in the struggle for human rights, to borrow the theme of World Down Syndrome Day, we must never leave anyone behind. As South Africa, we should never be found foul to having disregarded the rights of any South African, whether they are people with disability, whether they are people with Down syndrome, whether they are got any other type of affliction. We should never leave them behind. And that is why even our education offering is continuously responding to the needs of the people whose rights we must protect and uphold. And it is for that reason that we will move with urgency to sign and ratify the Africa Disability Protocol in terms of the requirements of our law. Liko Africa, continent e ya rona, ba tlhompha ditokelo tsa batho ba disabled. And le rona re tsamaisana le bona, go na le molao o montšha o ba o tlhagisitseng, re tlo signa molao o, re tlo isa ko parlamenteng ya rona, gore parlamente ya rona e o amogela.
We've heard it many times from female entrepreneurs that they aren't taken seriously, and Future Females is a worldwide network of women.
So we're creating a platform where these women come and they collaborate and they meet each other.
Have the Civil Aviation Authority announced when they'll be making some announcement with regard to findings? The Chief Executive.
As a society where our people have a better life and where there is equality, if we are to fulfill the promise made at the dawn of our democracy in 1994, we need to transform our economy to ensure that it benefits all our people. We are determined to place South Africa's economy on a more firm path of growth and recovery. We are on an ambitious drive to industrialize, to attract investment, and to create more jobs for our people. Se re se itseng ke gore re tshwanetse gore re godise economy ya rona ka hobane go na le batho ba bantsi, batho ba bangata ba sa sebetseng, gagologolo the youth of our country, they don't have jobs. And as we go around to meet our people, they always tell us, or we are grateful that our country and our government has been responding to the needs of our people on an incremental basis. We see the growth of the various things that our government is doing for us. And they always raise one issue. They say our children go to school, they go to university, they go to college, they get diplomas, they get degrees, and when they finish, they don't get jobs. And they say, Mr. President, we would like you to focus on jobs. And ke yona ntho e re shebileng tota gore re age mesebetsi. The right to work is an important right that we would like to see fulfilled for our people. And we are working day and night to make sure that this right, this very important right in the lives of our people, is fulfilled. And we are going to make progress in this regard as well. So long as one section of the population enjoys some or all of these rights while the others remain unfulfilled, we will never be a society that is united. We will forever be a restless society. Deep fault lines still exist in our country between those who have access to land and those who were dispossessed of their birthright through the centuries of colonial and apartheid policies. It is for this reason that we have embarked on a path to transform patterns of access and ownership of land. Ntate Narias, I can tell you, I like what you are saying, or you want a new deal on land. Yes, we should have a new deal on land, or lefatshe le boele mo matsogong a beng ba lona. Because there still remains a huge gulf, also in a number of areas, also in the realm of skills, in employment and opportunities for those who are on the margins of the economy, between those who have access to assets and those who do not have access to assets. Our commitment as a government and as a nation to human rights requires that all our efforts are directed at ending inequality, creating jobs, and growing our economy. It requires that we confront the substantial social and socio-economic challenges that we face, a consequence of both the devastating legacy of our past and some of our own missteps over the past 25 years. Things like energy, housing, water, and healthcare are human rights issues. Our people have a basic human right when it comes to all these matters: energy, housing, water, healthcare, and many others. It may not be mentioned in the Bill of Rights, but it is fundamental to the dignity, the safety, the health, and the well-being of our people. None dare deny that we have made some remarkable progress in providing our people with access to electricity. In 1994, only 36% of the population in our country had access to electricity. Today, 8 out of 10 South Africans have electricity in their homes. Yet, we are currently facing a severe energy crisis that is having a profound impact on the lives of our people and also on our economy. The impact on the economy is quite huge, but so is the impact on the lives of ordinary South Africans. Restoring a reliable supply of energy and ensuring that we have a sustainable model for affordable energy into the future is now one of our most urgent priorities. We have confronted difficulties before and in the past. Challenges that have seemed insurmountable were also confronted. And we've also confronted what many people thought were the most intractable challenges and problems. But we have always prevailed. We have always prevailed, and this we have done when we have been able to work together and never giving up. We will overcome this electricity crisis that is engulfing our country at this moment. We will overcome it just as we overcame the apartheid challenge, just as we will overcome unemployment, just as we will overcome poverty, crime, and corruption. We will overcome because we are South Africans. One of the things that we have perfected very well is the ability, when we are faced with a huge challenge, to work together, to close ranks, to hold hands, and to move forward together to confront the challenge. And this is what I now say to all of us as South Africans. The energy crisis that we are going through now will pass. And I call on all South Africans, let us join hands, work together, and make sure that we bring the energy crisis to an end. We are working very hard to do so. We have also done quite a lot of other things in the past where we have succeeded. And I expect that in this regard, we will. We are already putting in place a number of measures and making sure that the energy loss that we have had from the cyclone in Mozambique, that should be restored, and making sure that we address some of the maintenance challenges that we have in our power stations. We will overcome and we will get over this. And I am sure about that because we've been able to do so in the past. We will also overcome intolerance, bigotry, sexism, and violence that still plagues our society. Children are assaulting and even killing each other in schoolyards. Men are becoming even more violent on their mothers, their partners, and their children. People who look up to them for respect and protection. Gender-based violence is just spreading in our country like a wildfire. And it is a violation of the basic human rights of the women and the children of our country. People with disabilities are being discriminated against in the workplace and in their communities, and have become vulnerable to abuse and mistreatment. It is shocking when you hear that people with albinism are being hunted down. They are being hunted down and being caught and killed because some people have the mistaken belief that when you use the body parts of people with albinism, you will be able to cure some other ailments that you have. And this must come to an end. We cannot have a South Africa where other people are hunted down because of the way they look and they are killed for moody purposes. This must come to an end. Women and girls live in fear of sexual assault and often do not feel free to walk in the streets of our country or to get into taxis or to be out in the dark. It is actually quite frightening that we now live in a country where the freedom of movement of a section of our population is now restricted. The women of our country, the girls, the young girls in our country cannot walk around freely. This right that we have in our Constitution, the right of free movement, is being denied to a section of our population. And this too must come to an end. Schools, clinics, and other infrastructure upon which our people depend are being vandalized and are being destroyed. And as these are being destroyed and vandalized, we are actually restricting the rights of other people. Around the country, many communities feel under siege from gangsters, from criminals, and from thugs. This is not the South Africa that the people who died here in Sharpeville fought for. This is not the South Africa that Nelson Mandela fought for, lived for. This is not the South Africa of our dreams. And this is not the South Africa that we are working to build. It is not the South Africa that we would like to see unfolding. We come from a grim and dark past. We must never return to a time when the rights of others are trampled upon to serve the narrow interests of certain people. We must intensify our efforts to give effect to the rights that are promised by our Constitution. This can only be realized when we work together and reinforce the strong human rights culture upon which our country was founded. This cannot be the responsibility of the government alone. It begins with each individual. Kuqala ngathi, futhi kuqala ekhaya. lapho siphuma khona kulapho sifanele ukuthi sihloniphe amalungelo awo bonke abantu. Uma usekhaya ukhula ekhaya, sifuna ukuthi abazali bethu bayenze sure ukuthi bafundisa abantwana ngamalungelo awo bonke abantu, sihloniphe lawo malungelo. Kungazi kube nesikhathi lapho umuntu anyathele amalungelo abanye abantu. It begins also when the men in our country get rid of this very false machismo, this toxic masculinity that they want to showcase to everyone, that is praised by other men. Now we want to say there is no praise for men who want to exercise their machismo and show how brave and how good they are by bashing the women of our country. That cannot be accepted, and that will never be tolerated. It begins when public servants also, this respect for human rights, perform their tasks not with arrogance and condescension. It begins when our public servants deal with our people with respect. It begins, that is the respect for human rights of our people, when our public servants exercise the Batupili principle of courtesy, of respect and empathy. The respect for human rights also begins when elected officials remind themselves daily of the reasons why they were elected. Because they were elected to serve the people of our country and the interests of the people, and not their own interests. E botlhokwa ka hobane re ya dikgethong. Ha re ya dikgethong, batho bao ba re tlo ba kgethang, re tshwanetse gore ha re ba lebella re be re itse gore ke batho ba tla bang ba tlhompha setšhaba, ba sebeletsa setšhaba, e seng batho ba tla bang ba sebeletsa malapa a bona kapo dipokoto tsa bona. So re ha re ya dikgethong, re kgethe sentle, re shebisise sentle gore bao ba re tla ba kgethang, re ipotse potso ya gore ana ba tla ba batho ba tla sebeletsang setšhaba na. The task of respect, protection and promotion of human rights also is on the shoulders of companies. Companies need to hold themselves to their own codes of ethics and good business practices, but in the course of doing so, they must also be companies that will demonstrate clearly that they will respect the rights of their workers, they will respect the rights of communities where their operations are, and not trample the rights of ordinary people, of their workers, just as though they do not exist. So that also is a task that is on the shoulders of companies in our country. Fellow South Africans, today we gather at a site where the lives of 69 people were brutally cut short because of prejudice and intolerance. Just a few days ago, one of the countries that offered us invaluable support in our struggle against apartheid, New Zealand, fell victim to an act of such violence and cowardice that it stunned the whole world. We have, as South Africans, and we did this on your behalf as a government, we conveyed our deepest condolences to the government and the people of New Zealand following the massacre that took place at 2 mosques in Christchurch on the 15th of March, where more than 50 people were massacred. In the people of New Zealand, we have an ally in the struggle for human rights, world peace, and a strong system of multinational institutions. We are bound together by the common humanity and a shared destiny. Together, we are determined to defeat hate, to defeat prejudice, to defeat racism, to defeat intolerance, and also to defeat violence. And we say hate, prejudice, racism, intolerance, and violence have no place in South Africa. They have no place in a society like ours. The road we have traveled has been a long one. The achievement of a society that respects fundamental human rights was won after a hard struggle. We fought, we resisted, and ultimately we prevailed. We walk in the footsteps of Nelson Mandela, Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, Steve Biko, Mama Albertina Sisulu, Joe Slovo, Helen Joseph, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, and many other luminaries of our struggle. We draw strength and courage from them as we confront the challenges of the here and now. Together, let us deepen the culture of human rights and become true human rights activists. But this human rights that we're seeking to advance, to deepen, and to protect must be the type of human rights culture that touches all aspects of the lives of our people. It must not just be limited to one area. It must both be economic, it must be social, it must also touch on our religious beliefs, on our rights to our languages. It must also touch on the workplace. And we are pleased that we have a constitution that is broad in terms of its reach, in terms of promoting the culture for respect, protection, and advancement of human rights that we have espoused. We want all of us as South Africans to continue collectively to embrace this culture and to make sure that we spread it and have a healthy respect for the rights of all our people. And our government must also be at the forefront of respecting, advancing, protecting the rights of our people and open up all opportunities to ensure that our people are actually able to exercise and enjoy their human rights. Not just for ourselves should we do this, or our families, or our communities, but we should do this for all the people who live in our beautiful land, because this is the most beautiful country in the whole world, and therefore it must be a country where we have the ability to exercise freely, without any fear, the basic human rights that we all have. But we should also do so for the sake of humanity, because post-1994, South Africa, our beautiful country, became a member of the human society in the world. We became now a respected member, and therefore we have our own responsibilities to advance those human rights. And now, as I conclude, I wish all of us a wonderful Human Rights Day. This is an important day, and let me conclude by saying what we have always longed for on an important day like this is to get as many South Africans to participate in the activities that are launched for Human Rights Day. And we should all do so in our diversity. All of us, black and white, must participate in these activities. And I'm pleased to see that in our crowd today, there are quite a number of people who represent the beautiful diversity of what South Africa is all about. And this is what we should celebrate. Re leboge kaofela rona ba tlileng mo, re fapafapane kaofela, re bua dipuo tse fapaneng, re le memala e fapaneng, go kopane batho ba tshwanang le nna ba lebala le lentsho, go na le bao ba ka reng ba basweunyana, go na le bao ba leng ba seu tota. Re a ba leboga kaofela gore re fano kaofela in our diversity as South Africans. Let us celebrate our Human Rights Day. Ke a leboga.